She didn't ask necessarily to be constantly winking.
La-di-da-di. There's not much to say about it in the best way.
It's just another day from next to normal.
Yeah, I had to kill a few people to stay here, but I'm here. Kill or be killed, honey. Welcome to the fucking business.
I'm so excited.
Me too! Michael, John Suzuki, what are you here today on FaceTime Zoom to talk to me about?
I'm breathless. Sir Babygirl, we're here talking about Madonna's seminal classic 90s record, Bedtime Stories.
Let's get unconscious, honey.
Let's get unconscious, honey. Collab with Bjork.
Collab with Bjork. Big boobs. So let's just do some brass tacks.
Yeah, let's get into it.
It's her 6th studio album.
LG6.
LG6. That is, and let's just get this out of the way. We do not compare the girls to each other. All the girls exist in the conversation.
We're all at the table.
Because every girl gives something to another girl.
Knights of the Round Table.
It's all Knights of the Round Table, so everyone is offering their own lane, okay?
Yes.
And
we're just lucky to feast.
And we're lucky to have contrast between all the girls.
Yes.
But yeah, just for representation, I think there is something just to be said about people really do not seem to grasp how many albums Madonna put out while maintaining her artistic integrity, relevancy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the next one will be 15. So I think it's like a fair framing to say that this is like, with what we have now, Bedtime Stories is sort of like firmly middle era Madonna. And not just in terms of like, first decade was the 80s, second decade was the 90s. I think it's also like, she's an established character.
Yes. I think this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this record, because obviously you literally could pick any Madonna record.
Yeah. And you will.
And actually every I am hired by her, but to do that. I pay her to let me talk about her.
We all do.
We all do. We all do. I do feel like it's like there's before and after, and Bedtime Stories and erotica are like this kind of duo. Like I see them so intertwined because they're in such conversation with each other.
I agree.
And like Bedtime Stories marks like the after of like her realizing how adaptable she's gonna have to be and continue to be. And I feel like after Bedtime Stories, the level of reinvention, and then literally reinvention tour, the level of reinvention becomes so much more crystallized with each one.
There was such a sort of like blowing up of image and blowing up of expectation around erotica and the sex book. And if we even like just look at the artwork of Bedtime Stories, it is a sort of like distillation, even for the sake of like the American public, at least the American record buying public, like this is who Madonna is. I don't, like if we want to do a sort of like LG6, if we want to like look at like every girl at some point in their careers comes back to say, okay, this is my playbook. This is what I do. And I don't necessarily think that Madonna sonically says on Bedtime Stories, this is my palette. But at the very least, image-wise and character-wise, you're getting every facet of her character as a pop star. You're getting you've got the soft ballads. You're getting Human Nature, I'm Not Your Bitch. And you're getting this like really interesting forward-thinking spiritual lens on life that effectively summarizes all of the lanes that Madonna drives down throughout her career.
And this is why I've always called you Gay Pitchfork. It's the biggest pivot in her career, but you would never know that because it's also the softest. It's soft power. It's
Yeah.
her being like, oh, I've literally like driven. I've gone so fucking hard for a decade,
Yeah.
and there is this like that's what I think is so cool about this record is that it's like face value. It's so overlooked just because it's like it's just not the loudest person in the room, but it's one of the most strategic.
Yes.
It's one of her most strategic albums without losing the heart.
Right.
And that's what I also think is fabulous and fascinating is that it is to me one of her most heartfelt albums.
Yeah.
And I do think I would put it as maybe her most vulnerable. I feel like is the first time that she's like actually acknowledging feeling defeated
Yeah.
and unrequited love from both the public and from private lovers,
Yeah.
which I love too. Is that like she's a loser on this album.
Yeah.
She is she's rejected the whole time
Yeah. Yeah.
and she lives in that. And even the way that Bjork when asked about this was not like
Not chill.
not complimentary of Madonna,
Yeah.
literally like shit on. And there's something so fucking cunt about her, and that's why she is the bitch that she is, the power bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when I was growing up, I used to get confused and think that because of the way it sounded and the way that the music video looked, I was like, oh, certainly Human Nature is an erotica track.
Yes, totally.
And right, like, and it bears so much of the DNA of that album, but it is in this sort of like recoil stance after erotica, and
Mhm.
it comes at that situation, and it comes at who she is in culture and in her private life. I mean, like, I just think "I'm not your bitch, don't hang your shit on me" is one of the number one of the greatest refrains of her entire career, but also exactly summative of what you're saying about where she is. And like, it sounds hard, but it actually is the simplest and clearest statement of like, I've got my stuff, you've got yours. It's not about me. The response to the sex book, the response to erotica is not about me. The fact that she doesn't apologize, owning that like I'm not forsaking, right? Like I'm not
Yes.
forsaking all of this work that I did and all of this like I mean it's I love that you said that these two albums are two sides of the same coin because erotica approaches vulnerability from a hardened standpoint, and it's about like it is, I mean, it's the masculine to bedtime stories feminine, where like it's about her strength, and it's about her cock, her big heavy cock. Bedtime
This
stories
woman's
is
girth.
about everything else. And it it doesn't disavow that she has that strength. It owns that strength, and it says like, yeah, and sometimes I want to roll over and be a pillow princess too. I wanted to say too, this is the reason why I think that like this comes off as perhaps her most vulnerable is also it's the last album that we get of Madonna's, the last studio album of Madonna's before childbirth.
Yes.
And I think that like
Yes.
for her to have traversed all that she did with her career and with her personal life and make the statements that were erotica and bedtime stories as an adult. But that this is the statement that we get from her about like the kind of woman that she is before she brings a child into this world is so right and so powerful, and like again really sets the bedrock up for the next what 30 years of
Hmm.
what she's done. It's like we were saying, like it's all there. It's all on bedtime stories.
I think this album is the secret key in to every other album.
Yeah,
As someone who is a late bloomer to Madonna,
yeah,
this is the album that made everything click for me and
Yeah.
everything fall into place. The birds are singing.
Honey, the birds are singing.
The lilac tree, the lilac bush is blooming.
Yeah.
It will die soon.
Like the thing about Madonna is that like not only is she fine to take egg on her face, but she'll serve cunt with egg on her face. And
She
that
will serve scrambled cunt.
yes, yes. And that's what bedtime stories is.
Yes. She's like, look, I everybody hates me.
Everybody hates me, I had my bush out, and that's kind of fierce.
And like nobody wants to date me right now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Tupac broke up with
Right. And like I think that like this is a really like great, interesting, like potential jumping off point for the fact that like this time in Madonna's career is also like she sort of takes a light break from black sounds, from the sounds of like R&B and like black pop music for a while after bedtime stories. But like this period is, I think, like so very much like steeped in her experience of like black culture, black music, and is some of her more successful sort of like attempts at culture vulturing that we see in her career.
yeah.
Obviously, it's coming from a place of like education, experience, and deep love, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think it's interesting too that like from that place of privilege, she she recoils soft and she finds her softness in a largely R&B album.
Mm-hmm.
And then once she's established that softness, she pivots further into the sort of like icy European sound that she hints at on bedtime stories. And I think that like that's a really interesting sort of highlight of the way that she uses and exploits her privilege as a white woman in pop music.
How well does she pull it off? How well does she pull it off? And does she add? Is she adding? Is she
Yeah.
contributing? And I mean, again, who are we the fuck to say? We're just other idiot white people. But I don't know. This album to me feels like such a love letter
Yeah.
to that sound, and not a trying on an outfit and casting it aside.
We want to talk about another favorite track of mine is I'd Rather Be Your Lover.
Mm.
And I think that it's a really prime example of this particular element of the album that we're talking about. Because it samples the Isley Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
It samples
Mm-hmm.
It's Your Thing. And it also like okay, my sort of like two to three favorite fun facts about this is it features her label signee Michelle was a substitute for the original recorded Hawk feature,
I know.
which I
Michelle Degacello,
yes, yeah,
and who was playing bass, was a session bassist on this song. And they last minute were like, "Can you
girl,
can you hit that?
yeah,
Can you just take a little hit
yeah,
on that track?" And she said, "Can't you see I need you inside me?" And
yes.
they made a fucking, I mean, that's a gay. They turned I mean, that was a stud verse. This is a lesbian song now.
I know. It's so good. It's so good.
And that's also another thing that it's like, I truly didn't know Madonna was queer.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I keep talking to people that didn't know either.
Yeah.
I had someone email me and they were like, this whole time I thought she was a straight woman.
Yeah.
That's when, so as someone, what, did you know she was always queer?
I did, and this is like big up to my mom, big up Sophie Suzuki. My mom constantly was like, "Yeah, she dates women," which I just and I like. I guess I don't like. I think as an adult, I continue to count the sort of unfathomable ways that like a my mother is my Madonna, and b that she like ally shepherded me into my queerness in a way that like I've never doubted like community or representation, which is absolutely fucking wild. All to say, I knew, and that's why like that's why number one, it's always been so frustrating when that particular element of like her artistry and her communication with her public has gone cast aside. And number two, it's also why like I think that one of our sort of like most deficient areas of listening as a culture is the way that we hear our artists discuss their sexuality. The second that Madonna asked us as a people to start engaging with her humanity was the second that people roundly said, actually, no, you are a product, the product is slut. And we're not buying it right now. And that was the rejection that she saw on Erotica. Like, right, like her owning her queerness on this album and in the work that she makes moving forward is so radical because she will not let folks take that away from her. It's a
Yes.
really undersung narrative in her creative career moving forward. And like, that's why the fact that like she stays like being so queer on stage in the Celebration tour. She's on stage being like engaging in like simulated like lesbian sex on stage in the Celebration tour is like not only is she owning her sexuality as a person of her age, but she's owning her queerness as a person of her age. And like
Mm-hmm.
she's never given up on that. We've done a lot about like identity and legacy.
I do want to just go through and talk about who the producers are on this, aside from Madonna, because Madonna from True Blue on
Yeah.
is a co-producer on every fucking song
Yep.
ever. Um, okay, so Madonna is the executive producer and co-producer of every track, and then Nelly Hooper. Other things that he worked on, he did Sinead's "I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got."
Yeah.
He produced. He was part of like the collective that began Massive Attack.
Yeah.
So he went on to produce a lot for Massive Attack. He produced the bulk of No Doubt's Rocksteady. And he was the man who did the music and the scoring for Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. And Dallas Austin, iconic name, younger at the time, like younger gun, like R&B, like up and comer producer. He also did TLC's Unpretty,
Yeah.
which I've been randomly obsessed with lately. Before I knew that, so that was cool. He did Gwen's Cool. Can you believe? That's insane range. And then he did Pink's Don't Let Me Get Me and Just Like a Fucking Pill.
That's wild.
That's
That's a hit maker, mama.
and then Dave Jam Hall, I'd Rather Be Your Lover, Human Nature. So the real like R&B hip hop ones. Love Tried to Welcome Me. Um and he did Mariah's Dream Lover and Fantasy and Mary J's What
Yeah.
411. So
Bunker.
like Madonna just knows how to pick them. And then Daniel Abraham, who's on Don't Stop, he had done Rain and Fever off Erotica,
Yeah.
which are just like, I mean, Rain to me is one of her best songs ever.
Yeah.
Rain.
Another underrated classic of hers, which is why I was so happy that it got such a plum outing on the Celebration tour. This is my like fucking little monster fun fact trivia. Dallas Austin and Lady Gaga worked together on a 2013 TLC track called Posh Life. And on top of that, last week, the 14th anniversary of the album Born This Way, last week, a Dallas Austin version of Born This Way leaked in full and is this delicious R&B sort of like TLC inspired. I'm going to send you a link to it, of course.
Are we gonna drop?
I know.
Mighty Temptations! No!
Yes, of course, like the sort of like I've been in the trenches, I bridge the great divide between Madonna stans and Little Monsters. Um, there's like the fan fiction in my head is like, oh, she couldn't release a Dallas Austin version of Born This Way after the express yourself reductive drama of it all. But this delicious little morsel exists that like is a tie that binds pop girls, right? And it's like it tastes And it's these incredible collaborators that like have articulated these ideas for fucking decades.
Next up, Babyface. Of course, Babyface. Take a bow. The duet.
Yeah.
He is so much the sound of the modern American music industry.
Yes.
I would love to go track by track and we just
Yeah.
say a little something about each track.
Yeah.
One, Survival.
Like knocked on her ass.
It's like, I bet you wonder how I ended up here.
Yes. Yeah. Record scratch fees fan.
Like the gray area of morality has been so blown open the longer you live in this world, and then the longer you're also in a entertainment industry, and just like, okay, what even constitutes like someone that is like doing mostly good,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, and just like nothing that on the internet can ever be could ever really truly be understood. You would have to experience it in real life, right? um and also what I would just call a broad's life. Survival, I put that CD on, I bought the CD, I put
Yeah.
it on, and it was just like, oh, I'll never know, and neither will she. And that's actually so much more soothing than any proclamation of definitive empowerment. And what so many people don't want to actually fucking say is that it's just like, anyone that has made it at all.
There's a line in Survival where she says, "If you give me respect, then you'll know what to expect." It is the sort of like contingency for entering the world of this album, and it's a contingency for continuing to have a relationship with Madonna as she continues to make work in her career. It's like you've seen my bush, like you've seen my bush, and you saw how people roundly rejected my bush. Uh, you know, but if we're still gonna trot me out and I'm still gonna make work, then the least that we can do here is show me respect.
Again, people always say, oh, she's such a good businesswoman. To be good at business in the music industry, and then to be the artist, and then to be that prolific and that creatively fecund. Okay, I'm pulling out fecund for this. That is God speaking through someone to uplift the people.
When God breaks out second, you're just a vessel.
I'm just a vessel, and so is she. The music exists because I believed that I deserve to exist, and a lot of people don't. And a lot of people, and everybody wants women to die.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants women to die.
And snip that and make it the teaser for the podcast. Everybody wants women to die.
Everybody wants women to die. So,
But actually, mind you, period.
yeah. Yeah. And they're like, if as long as we're living in a world where women getting raped is like totally fine. It's literally like, yeah, okay. And did you pick up the eggs or what? As long as we're in a world where it's just like women are raped and it's no big deal and they better not have an attitude about it, I do think that Madonna will always be fucking radical. And
Yeah.
I just think like anybody that dares strip that from her with some sort of like jaded uh internet lens, or just like a, right wing lens, but that's kind of a more obvious one. But like, yeah, there's just something truly so fucking radical about this woman that has been through just like the casual, continuous violence that every woman's been through, but then also on this scale, in this insane scale of going from like America's like punky sweetheart to like,
Mm-hmm.
we must stone the whore to death
Mm-hmm.
in the town square, and then to be like, I'm gonna like smoke a cigarette,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put my eyeliner on so
Yeah.
thick that I actually look 20 years older in these album photos than I will look in the album photos for um Hard Candy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to serve you up something that's actually going to comfort you
Right.
in
Yes.
moments of feeling
Yeah.
hate.
Yeah. I mean the album art is, I'm so happy that you shouted that out because the album art is so like is so you know me. It's so armored. It's so armored. And it's such a performance. It's such a performance of who you want. Yeah, of who you want Madonna to be. This is why I was saying earlier, like it has to we get brought back to the image and the character of Madonna. And she meets us as like it's I mean, it's so good. These were shot in Miami. Um, and they're the
This color is so Miami.
we're all smiles in Miami. This was the second round of album art that she shot for Bedtime Stories. That one's sick. I love that one.
This one's like, no, I still got that fucking
That
cut.
one's still Dita. You can't stop the D.
You
The
can't.
second round of album imagery that she shot, because so there is a and we can do like a link in the thing maybe for further reading. She shot the original album artwork, and it wound up being the cover for the UK 12-inch of Bedtime Story. Uh,
Mm.
they're these wild, very sort of filmic, blown out portraits of her with the big sort of like tousled hair. The label saw it and they were like, "And where's Madonna? And where's Madonna?"
Oh.
You don't get to do this anymore.
But that's also, I love the fucking wink and the nod of Survival, the track.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm doing this album cover for Survival,
Right.
not
Yeah.
because it's my artistic
Artistic choice.
dream. Yeah, it's so cunt, and
Yeah.
that's that's where the businessman meets the artist, and that's where people leave out the artist part when they talk about her being good at business. It's like she's able to be like, this is not the top tier of artistic echelon I could give you, but it also, like, I am still gonna serve.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not gonna be a sellout. It's
Right.
just gonna be a dim out.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
you're gonna give me money for this, and then I'll still prove that I am financially viable, and then I can shake my fucking Earth Mother pussy on
Yeah.
Ray Light.
Yep.
And me and William Orbit are just gonna hermit up in the studio and do like the most insane analog
Yeah.
synth production shit
Great.
and
Yeah.
hold up the studio time for months and months and months on end.
Yep. Yeah. I think that the original album artwork is so utterly evocative of the album that we got. um,
Yes.
in its softness and in like in the focus that we get on her eyes, which remain the prominent thing in the album artwork that exists. But in the album
Mm-hmm.
artwork that exists, as you mentioned, they are so shrouded in the signature eyeliner.
Mm-hmm.
It's so it's fascinating. The bedtime stories, the flower art is also from that shoot. Let's talk about Secret. Secret was the lead single.
Yeah.
Um, I think Secret is like secretly I think it's one of her best love songs because it captures that I what I love about it is it captures that like love is scary, trepidation.
Mm-hmm.
And for everything, for all of the hurt that she's experienced, I love that this is the second track. I love that this is the lead single because, like, we get on Survival, we get her individual perspective on where she's at right now. And on Secret, we get, like, okay, I guess I have no choice but to, like, open my heart once again and move into love. But it's not the kind of love song that we have with something like Open Your Heart, where, like, she's rushing head first into love. And that was the character that she played in the first decade of her career. But now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck, what happens when I give you my happiness? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I think like the production choices on it, the sort of like there's like flamenco touches.
She
Is
loves she
yeah,
loves
she
Spanish guitar.
does.
Know that.
Now I'm looking for her DL trade.
I mean,
Madonna's DL trade.
Madonna's DL trade, and she's also, I would say, more of a John than a whore.
Yeah.
Madonna's like the John.
Yeah. Which is when we can't, you and I will just free associate about Madonna for 13 hours. But like, that's why it's so powerful that she gives full John in the Me Against the Music video.
Oh my god. Hey, Britney. I
Kane.
hear you wanna lose control. Yeah, come over here. I got something. That song is hard. Start that.
But that's secret. I think it's a really like it's such a fascinating play to like make that where we re-meet Madonna as a culture at the time. But it's a beautiful song and like it deserves to be one of the classics in her discography.
What do you think the secret is?
No, Lotsa.
Is it gay? Is it poly? Is it trans? Is it all? Is it neither? Is it none?
Yes, I'm a Cancer. I do think that like I think it's availability. I think it's love. I think that the secret is very simply like no, I think it's a
No,
fun,
I know. I love it. I love it.
I think that my baby's got a secret, and the secret is that my baby loves me.
Ah! And my Scorpio ass is like, okay, what is the like psychosexual?
Psychosexual.
What is the psychosexual game being played here?
And I'm like, no. The secret is that like at 3 o'clock in the morning, it accidentally slipped out that she said I love you, and her lover said I love you too, and that's the secret. Until you share your secret with me.
Oh, I love that. That's
That
what.
and that's me sat in this bed like
No, literally.
I love you.
Got a
I love
secret.
you.
Oh my god. I'd rather be your lover. Yes, we spoke of this. So fun. I am sincerely wondering this. Are you telling me that the Tupac is that real? Where he's
It
like,
exists. I can send it to
Tupac.
you.
No, I've listened to it, but is
Oh,
that really real? Where he at the end he's like, we fucked, we fucked, we fucked.
oh yeah.
I can't believe.
That happened?
Yeah, that seems.
Uncanny.
Yeah, it does seem uncanny,
It's
even for
it's like
Madonna.
fanfic. It's like fanfic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like I'm like too pure for this world, too hard for this world. Um I like I buy it full out. I buy it full out. I think that like it's too the verse itself even is like too joyful for it to be an abandoned label play.
I know. It's like it feels like they got left alone in the studio.
Yeah. I mean the like even the ad libs that he offers up at the end of the demo recording that's available to us, like the
Oh,
actual laughter, it's so clear that like there was Miss Camaraderie in the room with them that day.
hi, hi, hello, yeah,
That's
what's
stuff.
up? My oh mi amor. I mean, honey, the prison letter says it all. I don't think this is like I don't know. I'm like, is this not just what it is? This album also just feels like this is her entire heartbreak from Tupac.
Yeah.
I mean, and also could have been multiple men, women. But I mean, a lot of it does feel like Tupac was very much like, oh, sorry, my daughter's having
Yeah.
a neurological flare.
Yeah.
Um,
Psychosexual.
Someone's got a secret. I mean, in his letter to her, he's literally like, yeah, sorry. I mean, he rejected her, and she had never been with anyone cooler than her before.
Mm-hmm.
She was kind of like out cooled, and that also was probably a very interesting ego blow.
Which is again, she comes into this album like again, I'm a loser.
No, yeah,
I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me?
no,
Another song that came out in '94. Okay, let's talk about how Bedtime Stories is in tune with slackerdom, Gen X slackerdom. Let's talk about that.
talk
Even
about
even
that.
the biggest pop star in the world is like, actually, I'm also a slacker.
The song is literally like, fuck off, Madonna. But then at
Yeah,
the end is like, I'm fucking you.
yeah.
And then we have Don't Stop, which again is like, there's not really ever a reason to talk about it.
No,
And I feel utter bliss, and I
Listening to it.
love this song.
I do too. Yeah. It, she said you won't break my soul.
Yes!
But it ain't even that deep. It's not even that deep.
And that's the thing, is the only power is staying. And then we have Inside of Me. This one has a little bit of a coldness to me that it feels, I just, it, to me, it's lacking the humidity that like Love Tried to Welcome Me and Sanctuary have in spades. I just sonically, the production doesn't do it as much for me.
Yeah, I buy
What
that.
about what about for you?
It feels distinctly like an album track to me. It feels like a rightful deep cut.
Mm-hmm.
The chorus melody doesn't quite hit for me.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I think
Eh,
this and Forbidden Love are her weakest songs on this
on the
album.
album, yeah,
Talk about psychosexual, Human Nature. Ugh! I mean, this is also close to my favorite track.
yeah.
I mean, she's doing West Coast gangster rap production. Let Me Fully Steal, and I'm so sorry, but like this is a big meal.
I fear devours. I fear she devours.
She devours.
Yeah. Oh, quick shout out to this being the song that on her Sticky and Sweet tour, she the video backdrop for the song performance was Britney Spears in an elevator being surveilled after the umbrella paparazzi incident. I just think that like I think it's a super like a really cool sort of like historic thread with this song. The way that she lent it to Britney in that moment. With specific regard to I'm not your bitch, don't hang your shit on me. It is one of Britney's favorite Madonna songs in terms of that moment of like freedom in Britney's career and the relationship that they built between each other from like 2003 to 2008, 9.
That's just so cunt. And that's the thing, is also
Yeah.
people, I we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Everyone, I'm sure, has absolutely put hits out on everyone. Okay, let's just assume that like everyone has pulled the most fucked up shit to other people in this industry. Okay, but I mean, not for nothing, Madonna publicly, I think, has been gone after by other women so much more than she's ever gone after other women, and has helped other women publicly so much more than the average pop star.
Yeah.
And that is also something wild. It's like people usually have issues with her.
Yep.
I just feel like Madonna really has been. It's like it's that classic thing too, where it's like there are actual issues that you could take up with her, but they're not the ones that people take up.
Yep.
It's like what?
Yeah.
So Madonna boosting the careers of Alanis, of Michelle Branch, of Britney. Uh it's just we don't talk about that enough. Yeah, anyways. So, Human Nature, amazing. Forbidden Love. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the other one's better.
The
The
other one is better. The other one is, I think, a like an album highlight on that one.
Love Tried to Welcome Me. Now talk about humidity.
Mm.
Oh, I love this one. I love this one. It makes me feel like Artemis, like My Heart's a Lonely Hunter. It feels like she's walking around in the moonlight of ancient Greece.
It is there is something like nymph like. There is something, fairy like about the way that she approaches um these experiences and the storytelling that she does on this album. Um which is why I think like we go like that the artwork that we the original artwork feels so accurate to the experience of the album. Because like she continues to move through these emotional states that are the sort of like most primary colors of both human experience and pop music, but as if she's never experienced them before. And I think that that's her talking about her trauma, and that's
Mhm.
like her engaging the experience of like I'm coming at new love from a place of trauma. I'm coming at making art again from a place of trauma. And I mean like,
I'm doing this scared,
yeah, but I'm doing this.
but I'm doing this.
Um yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful and deeply wounded song.
It is because I think there's also this energy of like with this whole record and era. It's like, oh, I didn't think I would feel this scared this far into my career.
Oh,
I've been through so much, and I've
deeply
been,
humbled.
yeah. This is also her most humble.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we go right into Sanctuary, which again, it's like, the end of the album. I love it. Just tapers into this just watercolor wash
Mhm.
of ballads that just like it feels like you just are sinking deeper and deeper, but it really is like submerging you deeper and deeper uh into the twilight. That melancholy from, you know, the melancholy of a evening alone, and when you just have too much time to sit with yourself. Almost has like gothic imagery with like I want to be buried.
This is around the first time that I might argue we hear Madonna contend with even the idea of her own mortality. Like she ages as a character so quickly between Like a Prayer and Bedtime Stories, and that pivot is obviously what happens through
Mm,
the like womanhood of erotica.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
and I think that like the end of this album and the way that it like again like it engages ideas of spirituality and like it engages this sort of like mythical imagery, this gothic imagery that you're talking about, is like her beginning to contend with life itself. Um and her own sort of like existential questions about like what's it all for.
mm-hmm. Which then, of course, Ray of Light goes hard
Yeah.
into, and
This is
then
what it's all for.
and then music, yes, and then American Life really goes. Oh, that like itch in the back of my head that's been bothering me since like uh Bedtime Stories is now like my primary thought, and I'm like I can't unsee it. Which also again, the Bedtime Stories just feels like the seed for future thoughts, and you can trace it back here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I will say Bedtime Story I wasn't super into on its own, but then once I listened to the album, it it felt I couldn't feel it, and I feel it so much more after the journey, and then also the transition from Sanctuary, like the production, like that is like I it's like I will not listen to Bedtime Story without Sanctuary because the fucking transition is so fucking smooth, and oh, it's everything.
As I have in our texts, I will always, and as we did earlier, like I will always, as a gay guy, like gay guy remix corner, gay guy party, like dance floor corner, gotta shout out the remixes to Bedtime Story, particularly.
Yeah.
There are so many good ones, and like I think it's one of the coolest like dance floor triumphs that she's had, that so many of the Bedtime Stories remixes have popped off the way that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because like hearing Let's Get Unconscious on a dance floor anywhere, it's making the subtext text. Um,
Yes.
and it feels like a laugh, which I think like goes back to the whole like Bjork wrote it kind of taking the piss out of her. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and for Madonna to own that and then like double down on that with such an incredible remix package, which then furthered the song's commercial success, I think is such a like specific and Madonna win.
Yes, she's like, oh, I actually look really good in your piss.
Yes, yeah,
I like, and that's what yeah, that's what's so cunt about her is like, yeah, only a Leo would just like not even give a shit that the person who wrote it for her doesn't fuck with her and wrote it as shade to be like,
yeah.
I wish you would shut the fuck up and stop
She's like,
talking.
I look good in shade. Yeah,
And she's like, hmm, I can try that on for a song. Yeah, what if I never, this is the last word I ever spoke again?
yeah,
And then, psych, there's another song.
yeah,
And it's the biggest hit I've actually, the longest running hit I've ever had. And it's fucking gorgeous.
yeah.
It's fucking gorgeous.
Fucking gorgeous love. Um, I love Take a Bow. It it does feel kind of like it's this timeless piece of music. Um,
Timeless.
like Tale as Old as Time, song as old as rhyme.
Put it in the Library of
Library of Congress,
Put it in the Library of Congress. This is the time.
delicious production, delicious production
Oh,
on it swirls.
it swirls. It glows.
Yeah,
You feel.
satin sheets.
I say it's so elegant,
Yeah.
but it's so playful. It's the comedy tragedy masks. Oh,
Yes.
so fun.
I and I think I think comedy tragedy mask. This is like I don't know like chronologically when Madonna first references a clown in her writing, but I will say that like this is the first one that I noticed, and I think that like to land right tragic comedy tragedy mask to land this album in the theater right in the theater take a bow in the theater the whole world loves a clown um I think again like solidifies the idea that like she has a job to do. She's gonna do it. She doesn't like it, but this is what she has to do to survive. And if she has to play the role of a clown, whether it be in her career or in love, she's gonna do it because she's got to keep going. And it's so funny. It's so cool. It's so wacky that like in her most sensual moment, she's like, "Put on the red nose, honey."
Yes, put on the red nose. That's kind of what's the album ends with it being like, yeah, this was the deepest trauma, and also it ain't that deep.
It ain't that deep.
It ain't that. It really ends on it ain't that deep.
Yeah. See you at the next performance.
See you at the next show. I've got new merch.
And we're buying.
Take a bow. And it's so low.
Yeah.
Take. Like, is that the key? Yeah. Take
Oh,
a bow. I mean, it also sounds like it could have been in Mulan. It has this
yeah.
like Disney
That's it does sound like a Disney ballad.
in the best way.
Yes,
That's a compliment right now.
absolutely. Especially in that era.
Oh, I mean, 90s Disney music. That's just good pop music.
That's the good shit.
Well, this is perfect for us to take a bow, and also this is on record, off record, but literally got this at a yard sale, unused, hugely discounted,
Oh fuck yeah.
Pioneer, and I'm actually going to actually
You're gonna
DJ.
mix
I'm actually gonna DJ at this DJ event. I'm actually gonna be
at the
on
brat.
the
This is the brat one, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ibiza. Every single bedtime story remix back to back.
Yes. One long, yeah, bedtime story mega mix. Put everybody to sleep.
That's what I'm saying. Go to bed.
Okay.
I love you so much. I can't wait to literally talk so much more about Madonna with you
Forever.
forever. Ugh. Take a bow. Take a bow.
You know, so this is also, I'll just say this is a Victoria's Secret robe that my mother gave me. Baby's got a secret.
My baby's got a secret.
I love you so much.
I love you so much.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon. Thank you so much for being flexible with this girl.
It's my fucking pleasure.